All right. We don't have the best lighting, but welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let me pause North Shore here. Don't know if I'll be doing a commentary for the movie North Shore, but if I do, I'll be sure to post it on here. It's one of the DVDs that I'm very happy to own, and I hope everyone out there is having a good evening. Yes, indeed. Go ahead and tune into the Narek Chase channel as well. Narek Chase is doing a video tonight about Wonder Woman versus Captain Marvel. But since I haven't seen any of those broads in a movie, I decided not to participate, or it just wouldn't really have much to say or add to the discussion, having not seen either of those movies. Did see about 15 minutes of Captain Marvel recently, but I can't tell or make heads or tails of what is going on in it. So I hope everyone's having a splendid day and evening. Uh, we will be doing a commentary, if so chosen. Uh, we need to get a one of these movies that was presented as the fan choice voted on, and then once that's chosen, then we'll put it in. Um, I gotta tabulate the votes and everything, so we may have a commentary in this video or the next video that follows. I wanted to go over a couple of DVDs that I have that I find to be good value, good for repeat viewing. One, of course, being North Shore. I believe this is the first time that North Shore was issued on DVD, judging by all the special features where they seem to be mentioning it, that everyone had video of it, and how they're getting their videos, going to get DVDs and all that. Paraphrasing. So anyway, Randall Kleiser actually directed Grease, famous musical, one of the highest grossing movies of all time in terms of ticket sales. Um, Grease would then go on to make Blue Lagoon. So that's quite two interesting big hit movies made his, career from those. So then he decided to, live in Hawaii, and he produced a movie um, called North Shore. And he assigned, I think, a friend of his, where um, they had thought of it all together. So William Phelps, director, and the genie from Pee Wee's Playhouse is in it as like a fashion photographer. No, a surfing business photographer. I'm just trying to see who wrote the story, or actually who wrote. Well, who came up with the story is I don't know what that says. Um, they came up with the story, so I don't know who wrote the screenplay exactly. I can't read that, but anyway, Matt Adler is in it. I believe Matt Adler is married to Laura San Giacomo in real life. I've gone to a lot of great fan events or screenings of different movies, including for Roadhouse. I participated in that one and a couple other ones. But somehow I missed this one. This one, I remember I was going to go to it, but it was, I just ended up not going. But anyway, I think that was a pretty cool event. I've since become some friendly with some of the cast from it, and me never having surfed at all. That's saying something, because these aren't exactly people that are, open to talking about their experiences with just anyone. Joe Schmo. So anyway, Gregory Harrison, he's from Catalina Island. I've spent a lot of time in Catalina Island. Um, did my career in TV and entertainment. Uh, so yeah, Nia Peebles was a pretty big star in the 80s. I never knew that was her. I knew So this is hard to describe, but basically, there's a very famous poster for the movie that has her hair as part of that wave, and it just looks like a more typical, really hot chick's hair. So I never really put it together as a 6-year-old, seeing this ad in the paper, which was a very famous ad. The movie didn't do that well, but it was highly advertised, to see how that works exactly. You know, seeing uh, that ad with like her hair and then being the wave. So I never realized that that's Nia Peebles. So, but what I'm saying is I did know who Nia Peebles was concurrently. I just didn't put together that that was her. I guess I could read, but maybe her name wasn't on the ad. I don't think it was. None of these people were stars. Could have just been, hey, here's this, here's the show times. Things were pretty simple back then. Uh, so yeah, I highly recommend it. It has so much. It has a director's commentary that also has, Mr. Kleiser featured as well. And yeah, I mean, North Shore, you watch it uh, 20 times in a row, really. It's just a beautiful movie. All the surfing, all the waves, etc. Um, and so, for those of you who haven't seen it, I'll probably put it in a longer review or its own video in the future. But just he's a surf champion from Arizona. Yes, that's correct. Rides surf machines there. Uh, wave pool machine, surf machines, and he's a champion. And he is going to an art school. But before he do that, he's gonna go to Hawaii and try to surf among his heroes on the pipeline, on the North Shore, and all the famous places that you hear about uh, when you're, I guess, a surfer, or even when you're not a surfer. Pretty famous terminology there. So it's made right in like the heyday of the 80s and a surf craze, and very much a product of its time. His adventures when he's in Hawaii are just totally awesome. I mean, from the moment he lands in Hawaii, which is like, 3 minutes into the movie just heats up and it doesn't stop until it's over. It's not exactly like it's a mystery thriller plot or anything. He's just, going through a Karate Kid style plot set about surfing in Hawaii. And I don't know what could be better. I mean, location, location, location sells things in real estate and in movies at times. And to me, Karate Kid 2 is the most rewatchable of the series. It's beautiful. I don't care where what island or where they filmed that one for Japan. You know, they filmed it somewhere and it looked cool as shit. Like, really, you know what I'm saying? When you see movies, sometimes we get focused a little bit much about where they are. At least I do, at least. But here they are in Hawaii for this one, and yeah, that's the real deal. That's the real deal. I love how they're filming. Dangerous situations. They set a sugarcane field on fire. And got these crazy like Hawaiian butchers chasing them around. This one point. So if you want like just amazing '80s hijinks and Karate Kid style sports adventure comedy movie, check out North Shore. It's rated PG, which I think is so strange. I never knew that was. I never even thought about its rating once, but I can't believe that it's rated PG. And then when I think back on it, it makes sense, I guess, because there's really uh, no heavy content in it, I guess. The one part though, at the beginning, he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go grab a beer." One of these Australian chaps that he's kicking it with. And with that, I think that it would have been cool if they start delving more into his beer drinking and all that, but they don't. They kind of leave it at that, which is is what it is. So, welcome everyone. Yeah, I was thinking if they just indulge constantly in the movie, it would be very interesting, but it would make it a different movie. You know, everyone's just drinking in every scene and all that. It would have made it a different movie. But they kind of are drinking in every scene, but those characters that aren't featured as the protagonists, or even the secondary protagonists. Most of the characters that are featured in the film aren't really um, do anything too crazy on screen. And so with that, we want to talk a little bit more about North Shore. I feel, it's a pretty underrated movie of the 80s. You see so many movies that are, oh, hey, Rick back. I see so many movies that are of the 80s that are talked up about. I find that North Shore and Gotcha, two sports related movies in some way, that game of tag is definitely a sport of some kind. So that's more of a sports slash spy thriller, I guess you would say, a very rare hybrid. So yeah, I think the commentary is informative. The features are. I wish they were just cut together as one featurette because you got to click on each one every 4 or 5 minutes. You get interviews done with the whole cast and director and the producer. So everyone from John Philbin, who plays Turtle, Matt Adler plays the main character, Nia Peebles, Jerry Lopez, the world famous surfer who is featured in the film. I believe there's an interview with Laird Hamilton as well, the world famous surfer. He plays a character in the film as well. Uh, just an incredible film. I mean, I really like when you can learn more about it too. That these characters really were living that experience. John Philbin's become a pretty well known surfer in his own right and surf instructor. Um, it's an honor to get to know some of the cast of this film, um, and we'll go from there. Um, I guess the next one on the pile, and since it's three beautiful movies to look at, go Jaws 2 through 4. Clearly, I have Jaws the Blu-ray sitting over there, and that has like an hour and a half documentary about the making of it. This one, Jaws 2, has some pretty killer special features, information about the making of it. Jaws 3 has either no special features or minor special features, and Jaws 4 don't have any. Yeah, Jaws 3 and Jaws 4 don't have any. But Jaws 2 has like an overload of them. A lot of special features. Memories of Keith Gordon. He does that quite a lot, actually. He'll, on Dress to Kill, he does a segment on the special features, his memories from making the movie as well. So Keith Gordon, and I believe on the Christine DVD, he does a commentary with Mr. Carpenter and himself. And I don't believe he's featured on the uh, Legend of Billie Jean commentary or whatever you call that. I don't think he's featured on that one. But most of his movies he participates directly in, and he's pretty much an 80s legend. Underrated 80s legend at that. Um, I'm a huge, huge fan of Jaws 2, 3, and 4. I mean, not even because I think they're bad, so good, or whatever. I just fucking find them entertaining. I think that they took the series and, uh, whatever direction they could, I mean, I could see people's point that they're obviously a lot lesser than the first, but it's like, yeah, that's so obvious. Of course, they're not as good as the first, but in their own right, they're not horrible movies. So it's like sometimes people can't see those two things as separate. It's like, obviously, none of them are Jaws 1. But in entertainment value, I actually like them quite a lot. And if I'm in the right mood, I can be entertained and think it's better than Jaws 1 at times. Now, is that accurate? Kind of, because it's however it hits you when it hits you. You know? Like, there was a time recently that I was just watching Jaws 3, not necessarily on a loop, but once every couple weeks. I mean, there's something about that movie. There really is. It's a pretty damn good movie. I mean, the Louis Gossett Jr. character deserves to have his own like cinematic universe dedicated to Calvin Borchardt or whatever his name is in that. I mean, for real, Calvin Boudreaux, or I forget his name. He needs to have his own cinematic universe where he's like not only the Nick Fury, he's the Iron Man. You can be like, oh, just make movies about that character. That character is fascinating. That character is throwing down and buying a SeaWorld, making a SeaWorld and all that. It's the biggest shame in humanity to think that that character doesn't have more movies made about him. So, yeah, welcome to live chat. I hope everyone out there is enjoying the experience of live chat. In a couple minutes, I'm gonna have to put this phone in a different angle, so we'll have to continue doing this at a different angle. But other than that, I'll probably schedule up a commentary for us to all do together. So we'll pick from a couple in a little bit. We already got some of the fan votes in, and I appreciate them. We'll get some Q&As in a little bit, but obviously, just for the revenge has something where it takes away from the perfection of it. Is that young girl was sadly killed by her stepfather or father, and that's very sad. But I think what I'll do is I'll set the phone down real quick, and we'll continue the live stream in just a moment here. In just a second. Having some technical difficulties. We'll be back in a moment. Thanks. All right, everybody, we're gonna be starting the video up again in just a couple minutes. Give me a couple seconds here, picking out which one of the fan votes I'm gonna select from. Fuck, man. My ass is itching. This changing weather makes my skin dry. Well, the fans picked and they voted, and I'm gonna live up to their vote. I'll tell you what it is in a minute. You never want to go against what the fans say. Anyone tell me a good system to organize my DVDs? Anyone have any suggestions? Why don't you go ahead and leave that in the comment section, because currently I have, like I say, not a good way of organizing my DVDs, and to my detriment. And right now I'm looking for the DVD case for North Shore, and I can't motherfucking find it. So it's pretty much an issue when you don't know where the DVDs are and stuff, you know. So, yeah, you can rack back, dude. You can rack back and walk from your mouth. You can go up on the couch is what you can do. You can go up on the couch. Get up on the couch. Rick, back up off my bubba, dude. You can go up on the couch is what you can do, dude. You can Rick back up off my bubba, and you can go up on the couch, and you can Rick back up on my sub. Do that bullshit with me right now. Where the fuck did my North Shore DVD go? Huh? Where the fuck does my North Shore DVD just go? Just right now. Oh, it's right over here. Ladies and gentlemen, to my hand. Ridiculous. You know what? Fan votes, schman votes. We're going to probably do both of these tonight if we can. We're in for a live and exciting evening, ladies and gentlemen. We have an upbeat time first. And then we're going to get into more of the realities of the situation afterwards. Probably wondering what that all means. I'll describe that to you best I can. Let me get my food. You know, I eat a certain amount of food till the end of the day, and then I like to just eat dessert. And I think I'm about one of the day. I just want to eat dessert. Fuck everything. Fuck. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going dark here, and we're about to do a commentary and all this stuff. So I'll do my DVD stack another time. Hope you enjoyed my brief discussion on some of them DVDs. We'll be continuing that another time. Etc. I really do like Jaws 2, 3, and 4 quite a lot. As I'm sure you can hear in the background. I'll be hear it loud and clear, in fact. Setting up to do the Super Mario Brothers commentary. Oh, we got a live chat participant. Going to comment or is it going to be quiet? We'll have to see. The Menace to Society fan vote. We got 588 votes for Menace to Society, but we had 582 for Super Mario Brothers. These coming in through email and all sorts of different format. So I decided to go with Super Mario Brothers. So that goes from, same time period, May of 1993. They both were released in theaters. But we're going to go to the extreme other end of the spectrum for Menace to Society. Going to Super Mario Brothers. That's a film that I watched quite a bit in the early days of, as you say, cable, like more sophisticated cable, as more cable options came on. This movie used to be on quite a lot. And back in the day, I never even seen it back in 1993. It was a pretty busy time. I didn't even see Menace to Society in theaters because that had a much more limited release than Boys in the Hood. Like much more limited. Highly recommend that y'all check out both the films. I'm going to do both as a commentary, if not tonight, sometime very soon. But I hope to label this video properly because this will be the Super Mario Brothers commentary. So in a couple minutes, I'll set the thing down and yada yada, set everything up the way I want to have it set up. But I answered the question the other day, what's my favorite video game adaptation movie? And Super Mario Brothers. And I'm looking forward to all the stories I helped report about Sega and Nintendo through their company Stories International, trying to offload various intellectual property and video game licenses for their various games. But that process has been first reported by me and others in 2012 and 13, and here we are 6 years later, and we're 7 years later only getting Sonic the Hedgehog the movie. So this is a results-oriented business. Those other deals are in the stages of going through, and obviously Sonic the Hedgehog is coming out this year. I mean, everyone knows that. They're doing some pretty large-scale marketing for that. So I guess the war for the best new video game adaptation of this generation will be forged ahead. and it's been a very slow going the last couple of years with Warcraft and the other flop, Assassin's Creed, and to some extent, in the past, Doom. And I'm not a fan of the Mortal Kombat one. I never saw the Street Fighter one because I have such strong feelings on the video game. Not the modern ones. I don't know anything about anything past Street Fighter 2, really. Because I think Street Fighter 2 and its Turbo and Championship Edition was one of the perfect stand-up games of all time. Like if I could get that in the not the Marvel Avengers game, but an old stand-up game called The Avengers, that would be quite cool. I much like the lighting in here right now. I got only half my face showing, so very, very much a fan of this. I was doing a Rick Masters To Live and Die in L.A. commentary the other day, and seems like the kind of lighting that would fit Rick Masters' character and my facial silhouette here. So somewhat looks like Mason Verger from Hannibal. There we go. That Mason Verger look where he doesn't have that one eye no more. Or that eye looks just like all like that's pretty cool. So anyway, let's talk a little bit more about the Super Mario Brothers movie. Um, you know, in having kind of a working relationship with some of these people in the business, I've heard that John Leguizamo always was negative towards, had negative opinions towards Super Mario Brothers, and that he and Bob Hoskins had drunk a lot or drinking a lot on the set while making it, and that there was injuries, and that he lied and said that he could ride a car or drive a car really good, and that Bob Hoskins had hurt himself in the making of it. All these crazy kind of things, and that Bob Hoskins says, well, when asked what's your least favorite movie or the movie you could take back, he always says this movie, or said this movie. He's passed away. Rest in peace, Bob. And of course, I'm a really big fan of Bob Hoskins' work, not only in his big movies, Roger Rabbit, this movie, Hook, etc. I really like his work in Mona Lisa, starring Kathy Tyson from Serpent and the Rainbow. I really like his work in a myriad of movies. One of his last movies was about boxing. I think it was called 24/7 or something like that. He was a boxing trainer. I think he's in Mermaids with Cher. Not a bad performance. I mean, I much like him as an actor. I know he has a son. I'm not sure if his son has been in anything that I know of, but um, he was one of the better actors of his, filled a unique role. Bob Hoskins in movies in the 80s and 90s. If you needed, The Long Good Friday. I mean, so many good movies he's in when you really think about it. But Mr. Bob Hoskins, he was beat a lot of people out for the Who Framed Roger Rabbit lead role, and I mean, can you imagine any of those people that he beat out for that movie being in Roger Rabbit? Just sounds ridiculous. Eddie Murphy, Chevy Chase, Steve Martin. Sounds like they would all have been stupid in that movie. Very rarely is there a movie and an actor that fit so perfectly than Bob Hoskins as Eddie Bracken in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And I go as far as to say that his portrayal of Mario was great casting as well. I mean, controversial. to say that because most people say that this is an awful movie. But I like Max Headroom. In fact, I grew up in the era of Max Headroom being on not necessarily in British TV, but on American TV. And I much really liked that show, or that concept of it at least, and much really liked Max Frewer as an actor in almost everything I've ever seen of him. I wished he had more to do on Bates Motel. I thought that was kind of a misuse of Matt Frewer. Um, but yeah, I liked him in quite a lot of stuff. Doctor Doctor, his old TV show, that was a really good sitcom. Really an underrated sitcom of the late 80s and 90s. And Hollywood's never really figured out what to do with his talent properly. And neither with these two directors, a husband and wife team who often feuded, it sounds like, and had their very odd vision for this movie. And we're going to achieve it however possible until, some budget things got in the way. And that's, these two gentlemen who produced the movie. One of the last name is Eberts or something like that, and the other last name is Jaffe, Roland Jaffe, excuse me. And he had been, done so many different prestige movies in the past. These really elegant, movies, sophisticated Oscar type movies, and had done this movie thinking, hey, this is going to be something that's going to raise up money so I can make more of the kind of movies that I'm into. But of course, this movie did about as bad as you could expect. Or actually, you should have expected that it would do great. But obviously, something seemed off about it. Even from the ads as a child, I didn't think it looked like the Super Mario Brothers that I wanted to see. But hey, time does a wonder on movies, and this movie really holds up quite well. And even John Leguizamo has come around on his opinion about the movie. I'm sure he goes to conventions and everything like that, and it helps to have a better attitude rather than say, oh yeah, it was shit, and piss on all the fans and everything like that. So that's really cool. Very, very cool. So I hope that everyone has a copy of what is this movie called again? Super Mario Brothers. But if you don't have it, maybe you can find one online. So I'm going to give you a couple minutes to go ahead and figure out how you're going to get that all done. I hope that can work out for you. And so, came out just weeks before Jurassic Park, and it flopped. I think there was some animated movie out called right around that time called Happily Never After. Or maybe I'm getting that confused. May of 93, March of 93, May of 93, May of 93. May of 94, I think it's Maverick. May of 93. Basically, just Super Mario Brothers and Menace to Society are only the two movies that I can remember from that time period right now. But I'm kind of forcing my brain to think. But if it really came naturally, I'll remember that later. So has everyone seen the movie before? What are your opinions of Super Mario Brothers? Do you enjoy it? Let's talk Samantha Mathis. She was at an interesting point in her career and life. Her boyfriend had just died in front of the Viper Room a couple years beforehand. Not necessarily long term, but she had been with River Phoenix and Christina Applegate involved with him or just friends with him at the time. She was there at the time of his death. So there was quite a lot going on in the 80s and 90s with partying young stars and starlets. And she was in Pump Up the Volume with Christian Slater, legendarily good performance by both, and a bunch of other movies around that era she was in. And then she's basically disappeared. I don't really see her too much, but I love when I see her name pop up in something, and I'd love to see her in a lot more movies. I think that she may have been a pretty big role in a movie I can't wait to watch is Atlas Shrugged. I think she had a pretty big role in Atlas Shrugged, but it's hard to find that on DVD. I mean, you can go through Amazon, but lately I'm feuding with them because it took like 2 weeks to deliver something very simple, and then didn't really go to bat for me either. So I'm looking for alternative ways to buy my DVDs for a little while. Anyway, why don't I make sure everything's keyed up? I think it is already. So, kind of a interesting time for movie news. We'll have to see how a lot of these stories that I'm working on and how the others in the movie journalism, a couple steps behind me, are working on stories and everything like that. Make sure that they always keep me in the loop, and then I'll keep you all in the loop as well. So I think that's probably the best way of going about it. In that situation. How's everyone doing out there? Did y'all have a good Shabbat Shalom? You having a good weekend out there? And hope you're enjoying it. So, I really like to give respect to Dennis Hopper. I think he does a really good job in this film. I'm going to go ahead and get us queued up. And the queuing up process is very simple. I'm going to start on the Sphinx logo for Hollywood Pictures. This was a division of Disney. I don't believe Hollywood Pictures still exists, but I hope that they would bring it back, and maybe Fox and Hollywood Pictures could bring some adult skewing entertainment a lot, because Sphinx, Hollywood Pictures made Hand That Rocks the Cradle and all sorts of films like that, Taking Care of Business, etc. So we're here on the Pictures logo, and we're going to start it in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and press play. And I will lower the TV, but I like to hear the movie a little bit too. So I'll put it around 14. And Light Motive. That was the production company of that Ebert's dude and Jaffe. Now, I don't know. Well, okay, so they're playing that Mario music in the background of the beginning. I never realized that. There's a weird company, Light Motive. I don't know what happened to him after this, but probably not good things. May have made money internationally, but not enough. Had this very strange animated start to the movie. I'm not sure many people could justify this start to the movie, but supposedly the directors really found it to be necessary, so. Very crude style of animation. I'm not sure why that was done. But hey, this is a, classic movie. You don't question its decisions. Ask the question of, basically that dinosaurs evolved in a different dimension inside of our Earth, basically. It's such an interesting concept. I wish that animation was done maybe in an updated way. I don't have anything against the story or the message of what that is. So you got this that basically shows the origin of the Samantha Mathis princess character, is that she was dropped at, this thing, whatever this is, some building, back in the day. It's kind of like how uh, Aquaman was, you know, product of royalty. This bra is a product of royalty. She's a princess, in fact, and she dropped at a normie's house just so she can be raised normie. But she's kind of like a Nicole Kidman to that, you know, the Nicole Kidman to that Aquaman guy, you know, that hopefully, you know, that basically like that lady is her mother, and that child is like the Aquaman equivalent of the princess. So anyway, uh, I really like these scenes here at the beginning, and then you have her go into a little hole there, you know, like a um, sewer hole, sort of like how they do in the video game. And then her princess is born from this egg, which says she's like part of the dino human evolved people that are from a different dimension. Pretty interesting concept, actually. Like, is that a possibility that when the meteor hit, it opened up something that made it that the dinosaurs exist on a different way than they did? I feel that's an interesting concept. But King Koopa, as portrayed by Dennis Hopper, is a very memorable, credible villain. Uh, Very deadpan at times, very tongue in cheek at times, but at all times is a compelling watch. I've heard some people saying that, you know, he's phoning it in or this or that. I just don't even want to talk to them about anything because that's totally not what he's doing. He's, you know, whether he feels he is or not, I don't even care because he's bringing a performance to it. So sometimes actors would be, you know, dismissive of some of their best work because they don't like how some of their best work gets received as a whole, or how their best work gets received. You know, sometimes they have the balls to put the performance down and, you know, throw it down, make a great performance, but they don't have the balls to stand by with it after. And just because he didn't, you know, probably stand by his performance when people would interview him and they'd be like, "Oh, what were you doing in that?" and he'd play into their hand. That don't mean that he didn't give a great performance. That don't mean that at all. It means the opposite. In fact, it means that basically it was such a good performance that it twisted him up so bad that he decided to be kind of in denial about how good it was and how much it meant to him to perform it. And even if he didn't feel like that at the time, you know, he definitely was doing something that shone through. So you got Luigi and Mario, Mario under the control, or Luigi under the control of Mario, and kind of being a lazy little runt here. This is a really good part. So Luigi's more into these conspiracy theories and stuff, and Mario's not. I find that to be an interesting aspect of a movie. I really like these parts. You know, Mario and Luigi driving around. Supposedly Luigi really could, you know, Lewis only couldn't drive in real life, so they added even more comedy to me. You know, just to think here these bozos are driving around with these two directors that everyone couldn't stand, I guess, while making the movie, supposedly. But I've heard other things too. I mean, I don't know. I want to definitively see like a 5 hour documentary on the making of this. And they could talk about other video game movies too, but mainly this and how it went, you know, so off the rails, I guess. So they're in a rivalry with this dude Scapelli Construction. I find that to be amusing as well. I don't know. I don't have any problem with the movie. It doesn't have to be called Super Mario Brothers. And if it was called something else with the elements of Super Mario Brothers, it would be like, oh, they're not ripping off Super Mario Brothers. It has nothing to do with it. But once it's called Super Mario Brothers, you can see that it has something to do with, the origins of the game and their story and everything. And I find that to be really cool. So she's an NYU archaeological lady, and she's got nice legs. That's always a big plus by Samantha Mathis. Big, tall, angular lady. She's got to be around 50 now, which makes me feel crazy because, I grew up watching her. And, she's quite a good wank. Her and Pump Up the Volume. Oh my God. That was around, I was a young kid when I saw that movie, but that was, oh man, I used to love that movie. I love her. She's in, what's the homie's movie? River Phoenix's final movie. Uh, Something about country music. She's in that one, and I always thought it was funny. Siskel and Ebert, like, thought that she was on drugs during that movie, and they said it on the air. That thing called Love, something like that. I think that's the title. It didn't get a wide release as a result of his dying, basically. They didn't want to be in bad taste. That's when movies had a little bit more class than they do nowadays. Last time I was going to see John Leguizamo, he was going to do a show in LA, and then he had to cancel the show abruptly, so I hope everything's alright with him on his end. Glad he's still going, or is now going to conventions, and really is a shame Bob Hoskins is not alive. He would probably now appreciate all the, cult following this movie has gotten. And there's Fisher Stevens of Short Circuit Mystery Date, formerly the husband, I believe, of Michelle Pfeiffer, if you can believe that. Unbelievable. If not the husband, they definitely dated for a year or two after Peter Horton. I think she's still with David E. Kelly, the producer, so I really do think that Samantha Mathis and so Luigi and the princess have chemistry. Mario's already taken in this movie, so otherwise they'd be charging up on her both. But it's got some hot piece of Italian ass for sure. And then you got Daisy the princess there. Leguizamo's just smitten with her. So they're trying to do some dig and this construction and all this, trying to threaten them. You get it. Hope you're enjoying everything out there on the Barbecue Network today. We're doing a live commentary for Super Mario Brothers. We're not too far into it. So go ahead and sync up your copy. We're right around the time where their truck van is broken down and there she is thanking them for letting her use the phone and all that. Pretty cool scene in the movie. John Leguizamo, what else can you say about him, man? He's the agent and the fan, a movie that we'll be reviewing and doing a commentary for soon enough. He's Chu Wong Fu. I think he's a really, really dignified actor. One time I was with a group of people that are around my age or older though. And started saying how much I really respect his career as an actor, from Carlito's Way to all the different movies, and they started laughing. They thought I was joking. So clearly, there's a difference of opinion between what I think of John Leguizamo and others. In my opinion of John Leguizamo changes from movie to movie, obviously, but I think some of his high points in movies are some of the high points in characters or acting in the last 30 years. I'm not joking around when I say that. I mean, I think he's done some really, really good performances in movies, and they go unnoticed. Basically, obviously, he's never been close to being nominated. He's kind of just a lampooned character actor, but he's a very strong actor in my opinion. And he not only deserves more rework, but deserves more accolades. He now does his one man show. And that's what I was, we're gonna get together at the show and all that, but haven't seen him in a little while. Um, so yeah, I don't know where Samantha Mathis is up to, but hope she's all right. I know that she's done some like, television as well. I always wanted to see her play like in a Blink from Hell psycho thriller. Maybe she's done one of those by now in her career, but it would have been great to see her in her 20s or 30s doing maybe the Jennifer Jason Leigh type equivalent. Yeah, single white female role. Because she also, she had that part of her where she's always playing the straight character, like Bridget Fonda, and that. I really like this double date scene. Mario and Luigi out on a double date together. And she's hot. Mario is banging some nice tail, really Italian that looking chick. I love how they go to this Italian restaurant. It's just this typical, checkerboard, red and white Italian place. It ain't no fancy place. It ain't no, yeah, it ain't no fancy place. It's just exactly what you'd expect Mario to go get pizza at. I love the details that they've done with this movie, honestly. Like them going out to a nice place in Brooklyn to go eat. You would have thought that that should be in a Super Mario Brothers movie, and it probably shouldn't be. But it is in this Super Mario Brothers movie, and you can't change it, and it works. That's the thing about the movie. You can't change the movie. It exists in its own thing, so you might as well get around it and enjoy it and say, like, hey, it would have been fucking hard as shit to make this into a literal adaptation of a video game where you got two nondescript red and green plumbers running around going up and down holes and jumping on mushrooms. Like, it wouldn't make sense as a video game or as a movie. So what they did is made a story where 6 or 7 elements carry over and the rest is just kind of an interpretive dance. And that's what's so interesting about the movie. And people are always just so harsh on it, like it did something wrong to them or something. It's like it's all it did was try to like entertain you on a surreal, albeit slapstick, zany, but kind of deep level as well. I mean, some really dark shit going on in this movie when you think about it. Trying to chase down this princess that's gonna, threaten their existence, and their existence is based off of turning people into these nondescript goopas, and then there's, you know, people get turned into mushrooms, but they're not like real mushrooms. They're more like fungus strings. It's like, what the fuck? The movie's deep as fuck. I mean, it's not deep, and it's still interesting at the same level, too, if you just want to turn your brain off and be like, oh, what the hell is going on with this? If you get into the higher levels of the story, I'm surprised there's not, like, a video game made of this. Seems like it would be fun. A video game set in their interpretation of this. Maybe I'll look into that if there is one. I know it was filmed all basically on location. I mean, all these parts, no, but the other parts are on location in North Carolina and an abandoned textile plant or something like that. So everything is done within that big construct. So I find that fascinating. You could see the limits of their building in almost every shot, and yet it looks like its own self-contained world. So I like the little chemistry between the two of them. I wouldn't be surprised if they dated in real life. I would not be surprised if they dated in real life. So you got these two bozos chasing after, and how people are find them to be stupid. They're basically Tweedledee and Tweedledum, but they're doing exactly what they need to be doing. So they kidnap Mario's girlfriend in a pretty brutal way. Yank her head over, or yank a hood over her head, and poke at her, leave her, or take them with her, take them with them. Daisy and Honey G. Luigi are now at the dig site. And sneaking around with flashlights at the dig site doesn't sound like the most safe thing in the world, but hey, she says she knows her way around. He wants a piece of tail too, so hey. But now there's a big flood going on. It's the Capellis that are trying to fuck with their, dig operation. These scenes are well done. So, I don't think Danny DeVito would have been a good choice for Mario. If they wanted to go a non-Leguizamo route, I mean, they could have gone like Alan Cumming. At the time, he was a younger actor though. Maybe like I don't really know. Matthew Lillard was too young to go on to play Shaggy. I love this scene when they're actually plumbing. I think that it's really cool when they're plumbing, when they're actually plumbing, whatever the word is. I find these guys to be funny. Silly little, they're basically transposed from being Koopas or Boobas into humans, so they're not very sharp. But they're basically dino humans, I guess you would just say. Now they've got now they got another woman that the Mario Brothers care about. And you want to get the Mario Brothers upset and chasing after you, you take their woman. See, that's the kind of stuff you don't know about in a video game. So they're gonna chase down through this area where there's basically a portal. There's different portals, of course, in Mario Brothers games. But here they're gonna hit a portal that's gonna bring them to this surreal world. I really much like this part. So, do you guys think that that's pretty good CGI? I do. I think that's pretty good CGI and digital compositing for the time. I think that in the Frighteners it would improve 3, 4 years later. But for the time, I think that's pretty impressive. Or 2 years later, Mario and Luigi Mario just went through quite an experience, and they saw what they saw, and they're going to go pursue it. And do you guys believe that Mario was drinking, or Bubbles was drinking the whole time? And if so, what was he drinking? I've heard a lot that he was just drinking on the set, and I always want to know what he was drinking. Same with Leguizamo, but I don't think he's saying that anymore. But he used to say they were just drinking a lot, the set together, maybe separately. They are mismatched in terms of experience in Hollywood. Luigi Leguizamo not, acting for more than 4 or 5 years beforehand. What a dream role too, Go from not really acting in big mainstream movies like Leguizamo to being Luigi, and then months later to be Benny Blanco in Carlito's Way. I mean, two very legendary roles in '93 for him. And he got started in a lot of independent movies in the New York area. Hanging with the Homeboys, I believe, '91. I really like this part. So as you see it here, and out in the surreal world, Koopa or Koopa Canyon, all this stuff, pretty amazing actually. You don't realize that anything is off except that it kind of looks like New York with the celebrate writing the way it is. Koopa Square, it's like Times Square. Everything's just very strange looking scale, and basically how they could decorate that factory is how the place looks. Kind of almost like a surreal looking Brazil meets Batman Returns type look to it. I haven't been to Manhattan in a couple of weeks. Must have been a bad couple of weeks. I like that line. Quick little one-liners about the Italians from Brooklyn. Exactly what you would expect out of them. They had to write some dialogue for these gentlemen, and they came up with it, and I think they did a good job. So they fall through these mushrooms down to the thing. That's kind of like out of a video game. You're about to jump on the mushroom and you fall down instead. They see these little dinosaurs here. That's crazy. Now they know that they're not in Kansas anymore, so to speak. So I see these crazy morph people. Crazy place. Got people carrying around their eggs and baskets. Crazy looking place. So they got like a porno movie called I Was a Teenage Mammal playing. All this little detail, man. It's not for children, I guess, is what I would think about, when I see something like that. It's not for children. But yet it was called Super Mario Brothers. It's a wonder that the movie even, it did about what you would expect. You got Dennis Hopper. Great performance. The woman alongside him had some things to say about the making of it too, but I think she does pretty well with her role. I really like these guys at this point where they keep trying to get one up on each other. I think that's endearing. But Dennis Hopper will just always dislike both of me. Writings on the wall. To remind him. They need the thing from the plumbers. Plumber alert. I love that part. So 2,000 gold Cooper coins are being awarded for the plumbers. That's elements from the video game, just kind of repurposed. A little lizard sandwich. Pretty cool little detail. All these lizard people eat lizards. Yes. Hey, lady, can you tell me that's where I am? Yeah, you're in my way. Oh my god, that's old lady. No. They own weapons, and then this lady, little old lady, robs them. Cooper coins. She's looking for Cooper coins. I love this chick that wears the red. Uh, that's a pretty good stunt there. Tosses a lady into a car. Causes a big traffic jam. I like this movie quite a lot. I mean, he got a cool little stunt there, actually. Why do people not like this movie? Maybe this black chick. She's sexy as hell. Wears some crazy ass red outfit with crazy boots on. So she's out of the video game, I believe, in some form. I would hope that that's part of some character in Super Mario so far. Maybe they foresaw the future of the video game. Who knows if I'm wrong. But Super Mario 2, I don't think there's anyone like that necessarily, but it seems like you got different powers in Super Mario 2 and 3. So I believe at this point Super Mario 3 had just come out within a year or two of this game, or this movie. I love this character here. This street guy, street musician, befriends Mario and Luigi. I really like that part. And he's basically Toadstool, I guess. And he's singing some anti-Koopa song, so he gets rounded up. They all get rounded up. They're getting arrested for being plumbers. Where are you from? Brooklyn. You're not from around here. Brooklyn. Something like that. Yeah, another good stunt scene here. Luigi, Mario. That's part's confusing. No, wait, look. Sorry, who's on first? Who's Mario's right side? That's the scary part. Got mine and Eugene. We're getting basically shot in the head. I think that's just a photo. And their jail is very inhumane. Obviously, those are basically just lizards being under the control of this great dictator. Wow. What a very incredible scene there. I don't know. I really like where their jails are all stacked up, and I love the way that they're gonna have Cooper pretend that he's the lawyer here. Lauren wants to shake the guy's hand, and he looks like he's like, "No, I'm not gonna shake your hand." Never a good sign. They tend to be a lawyer here. They can pretend that he's a lawyer. And now they're goofing on Koopa. He don't like it. So a lot like Big Trouble in Little China. I don't know why people haven't mentioned it ever, but there's a lot of similarities here. With Koopa kind of being a shape shifting kind of Lopan dude. And them looking for their quote unquote women or brides. He tricked them. And he says basically it was fair game. So this is a memorable part. I always remember this part. He gets him to be basically be complicit, like gooba gooba, ooh gooba gooba. Sends this guy back from the Cretaceous to the Cretaceous period. He's free thinking. When he comes out, he seems, like a Goomba or a Gooba, whatever they're called. I think that this movie is very effective. I'd like to meet the directors. So they're gonna shrink this guy's brain down. He's a royal child of the royal family, loyal, and he's a Goomba. Goomba. I love this part. And he's a descendant of Tyrannosaurus Rex. Pretty fucking cool lineage. And Goomba can only do nothing now. He stands there. Loyal, lethal, and stupid. Goomba, walk tall. Go Goomba. Walk tall, be proud, Goomba. Go cool sequence. Seems simple or dumb, but pretty deep. Puts people into a chair where you can de-evolve them and then makes them easy to lead. Mario Brothers movie. I'd like to see a prequel to this movie. I'd like to see a whole cinematic universe of this movie. 5 movies that take place within the context of this. I think we definitely find the material. Yeah, obviously, these are just some great madcap adventure parts. The movie is just terrific. I'm sure it was hard to know what these directors were doing when they, you know, started giving their final approval on screenplays that they had, um, come in to repolish, I guess. I was trying to work with the Koopa. Roll together. Threatening idea. Have you never seen the movie? Oh, gee. See it a couple times and do the commentary. I've only seen the two of them. No one hates them movies, but like the action fair, he is good. And there's two really great villains. I love his villainous turns. Good about them. The list of it. And they'll take it periodically if that. And trailers just protected those here like a younger. I'm asking her for some chips and she can't do it because of the rules. Yeah, well, so it holds everything here. Yeah. Cookie machine changes people. No. Time was quick. Really makes sense in the context of the movie. Now we got dinosaurs walking around. Huh. Maybe there. Well, that's basically the end of that one there. So I hope you enjoy it all. And that's kind of the commentary. Focus on me. I hope you all have a good night. Yeah, absolutely.